Alright, today we're having a look at In the Dark by Ice Queen Me. Alright, so here we are in the Dark by Ice Queen Me, and it's looking pretty nice. Just to start things off, to tell us that we're going to be... That was almost a fall. I just barely made that. It said we're going to be going through this dark cave with the use of what lights have been provided to us, and that does seem to be the case as it is. I do hope that the music is not too loud. I think this is a creator-created track, and so sometimes those end up being a bit louder. That was my fault. That was my fault. It was clearly signposted, and I was not paying attention. But sometimes with these creator-made tracks, that they can be a little bit loud. I turned down the volume on my headphones so that it won't drown my brain out, but I don't know if it's going to drown my voice out. Oh, that's a problem. Oh, okay, we made it, but that could be a bit of an issue. So, how am I liking it so far? Actually, I am. It's got a really nice look to it. There's not like a lot of super intense gameplay, but that's okay. It doesn't always have to be super intense. Now, I hit the button. Did I not hit the button? Maybe I didn't. Maybe it was a layer thing. It could have been a layer thing. And, oh, I want the... Is that a... Good. I want my special extra points. That's all I'm saying. I just want my special Yeah, okay. So going ahead of the candle throws you in the wrong layer for the switch, which kind of might throw you off a little bit, like we saw right there. Not a really super big deal, but it does come up every now and then. We have Attractogel. Now, thankfully, you know, the page does warn us that there's going to be Attractogel. And at least I like the look of it here. I do appreciate the Attractogel look sometimes. It doesn't always fudge. It's on me. That's on me, definitely. It doesn't always look super nice, but sometimes it does have a nice vibe to it. Oh, we got this. This is... Wait. Sorry, I had to listen if the sound effects or if it was my phone going off. And the phone going off, I mean the timer going off, because I haven't bought a new timer yet. Because I haven't bought a new timer yet. What do you want? What do you people want? We'll have one eventually. Kitchen timers are the best. But, yeah, there's like... Oh, hey, we did it. It's done. I liked it. I did like it. We're going to talk about it a little bit back at the hub, and we'll see you there. See ya! And we're back, and In the Dark by Ice Queen Me. And I think it's a nice, solid, perhaps a little bit softer for some people, green circle, but I had a really nice time with this level. I found it to be a very well-presented, very aesthetically pleasing level. The material choices, the shaping, the choice of decorations and objects. I like the lighting, the little blue lighting that went out throughout the level. It just looks really nice as a level. I do find that putting that extra effort into presentation, for me at least, helps to elevate levels that might have been a little bit weaker on gameplay up into something that is more memorable and more enjoyable. And I really, really like what Ice Queen Me did with the level here. As far as the gameplay, there's nothing really challenging in the level. They're not adding any particularly new mechanics, things that players wouldn't be familiar with and that would need to be explained to the players. There is signposting in the level, which I do appreciate, but I didn't notice on our playthrough. That was definitely my fault. We've got the Attractogel in the level, and a lot of times I'm not a really big fan of the Attractogel. I find that the aesthetic of the actual Attractogel material only fits in a couple of levels, and the movement provided by the Attractogel, it's kind of hit or missy, but I think it's well implemented here. It definitely gels, to make a bad pun, aesthetically with the level. That kind of soft blue, glowy, flowy material, it really works here. And the movement as well, that's used to hide a few things, and it's generally inobtrusive. I think if Ice Queen Me wanted to bulk out this level a little bit more, perhaps one more Attractogel section to give a little bit more to do with that moveset would work, but it's not 100% necessary. I do think that it does work for itself. Another thing that I really liked was the inclusion of the kind of pseudo-secret bonus flowers in the level, 1,000-point bonus flowers. I always love that kind of stuff. I like searching around the nooks and crannies of levels and finding stuff, even if it doesn't necessarily unlock anything. It did unlock second place on the scoreboard for me, putting me just below Pinky Girl. And you know, if you're gonna be below somebody, be below the best. So that was pretty cool. I liked that. There was a slight weird point with gameplay that we saw in the video. You've got a bit where there's a couple of candles and it's forcing you to move back and forth within the layer. You're supposed to hit a button, then run back and get on some bounce pads before the timer turns off and the bounce pads turn off. And the way that the layering is set up, the way that the obstacles are set up, you're actually out of layer with the button when you get through that little run. And what we saw in the video was, I didn't expect that, didn't notice it, jumped, thought I hit the button, ran back to the bounce pads to find them unlit, and then had to come back and figure out my problem. I think it would help to put the button in the same layer that the sack thing is going to emerge from when it comes through the slalom, just so that they can complete that movement smoothly and just jump up, hit the button, and go back, because most players aren't going to think, well, now I've got to force myself to pop forward a layer, because the game was doing it for them in the previous section. So that was one thing that I noticed. Another thing that I noticed, and I think was very noticeable in the video, is the music was really quite loud. It was I'm sure that it's a creator-provided track, and a lot of times those tracks are over loud for the levels that they're in. This track here, Little Big Me by Velvet Audio, I've got down to 72%, and it seems to be a pretty good level of audio for what we're doing here. But we could notice in the video that the score bubbles, when they were popping, you could barely hear the sound effect from the score bubbles popping because the music was drowning it out. So bringing that down just a little bit, I do think would have been a bit of a help. Now, there was another thing that came up, and I feel kind of silly about this. This is actually my second time recording the outro, because something that I noticed when we were playing, you've got the climbable materials, polystyrene I think, and that material is also grabbable. And something that we saw in the video was, when I tried to jump off the material, my sack thing was actually grabbing onto the layer side of the material, because it's one layer thick, and then we were able to escape that jump. But I've had that come up in other levels where you'll kind of get stuck hanging there because you can't make whatever jump that they were intending you to do, and you just basically have to fall to your death, and we don't want that. So I was thinking of ways, and I put together a way. Well, what you want to do is make a thick material and then copy it, make a thin material, make the thick material ungrabbable with the materials tweaker, and make the thin material climbable with the materials tweaker, and then make it all invisible so that they don't notice the thin material at all. And so you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. It's just so much easier. It's so much easier. You've already got a material tweaker on there to make the object climbable. Just set it to not be grabbable. I know that seems counterintuitive. You would think that you have to be able to grab something to climb something. This is not the case, my friends. This is definitely not the case. If you set it to non-grabbable and climbable, you'll still be able to climb on the outer layer of the material, but you won't grab the side of it when you do your jumps, because most players, when they jump, they're probably not going to take their finger off the R1 because they want to be holding on to the climb while they're doing the jump, so that'll force them to grab on, and we don't want them to do that. So super duper easy. And I feel really silly because I didn't think of that at all, but that's a good example of how we can overthink our solutions, because sometimes the easy solution is a little bit counterintuitive. So if you've got a bit of a counterintuitive solution, test it out first. If it's the easier version, see if that actually works, because sometimes in systems like this, sometimes it does. But Ice Queen Me, I had a great time with this level. I found it to be really, really enjoyable. It's nice and short. I know some players might complain about the length of it because it's probably comes in around 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes if you're going a little bit slow. But I think that's only an asset because you get to have this nice, quick experience in the middle of perhaps longer or more frustrating levels. But that pretty much does it for us here at this Go About. So from me, Disco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.